I have a follow-up question because you guys, we talked about the third deck effect. How do you manage that? Because for a lot of kids, they get on a college field for the first time. It may not be a literal third deck, but the emotions of playing on a bigger stage, the emotions of like everybody here is big and strong and fast. You can get those same emotions even if you're not on a major league stadium. How did you guys deal with that? Any tips or advice or like what was it like for you to managing that? And like, maybe, I guess if you could do it again, would you do it differently? Or how would your perspective change if you had to do it again?
I think it took time. And I think if you ask a lot of big leaguers, it's the same thing. With Texas, it may have sped up on me a little bit more because I was playing a position I wasn't comfortable with. But I remember, talking to, name drop here, like Michael Young, Kinsler, Napoli. I asked them, I said, it just looks like you guys are playing backyard baseball. Like, you guys look like I was playing in Double A. When does that happen? And every single one of them said, dude, it takes time. Trust me. It's just let it happen naturally. Like, just keep working hard, keep going about your business. It's going to happen. You'll feel it happen. And that comforted me. So that allowed me to kind of like take a deep breath and then
it's more than just on the field, right? It's more than just on the field because you're getting treated differently at hotels. The travel's different. Mm-hmm. The money's different. Like your whole life is being treated differently at that point, right?
Yeah. That's true.
I think that burden, I never like the peripheral stuff really didn't affect me. I was more concerned with just getting a sustained opportunity, right? Like, if you get a sustained opportunity, then I think you can, like, you have to, it's basically like, are they going to give me 20 games in a row where I don't have to like worry about coming out of the lineup, where I don't have to worry about 0 for 4, because we put those burdens on ourselves all the time, right? Mike just said it. He goes, I thought I was going to get benched after 8 games where I was like 2 for 50 or whatever. Because everywhere else in your life, like even in college, if you go 2 for 40, probably take a seat, bud.
Yeah.
Right? Like, unless you're at Assumption like I was and had the longest leash ever. Because I was the guy. Like, there was no choice. If I had 100 my freshman year, like, I was going to hit 100. That was it.
Sure.
And that's the difference is, like, there's always somebody trying to take your job. There's always somebody in the minor leagues that's prospecting. Like, you can only go backwards, right? To sit there and play the backyard baseball that he's talking about, you just got to be comfortable in your own skin. And
yep.
That's a great observation to be able to ask those guys. Like, I asked Joe Mauer, I'm like, Joe, how do you hit these guys? Like, how do you hit Scherzer and Verlander? He's like, I don't. And I go, what? And that's part of the let go, right? That's part of the letting go. It's like, I don't need to get 3 hits against Max Scherzer. I don't need to get 2 hits. I don't even need to get 1. Like, if I go into a game against a frontline guy, and this is my problem was I would look at these frontline dudes. I always looked at the dude that had a 2 or 1.5 or whatever it was. I'd be like, he's got to be nasty. Instead of, no, he's just a pitcher today, and I'm playing against Rawlings.
So like, true, man.
If you just play against Rawlings, dude, the guy on the mound doesn't even matter.
Yep.
He literally does not matter. It doesn't matter who it is, because guess what? The guy that's got a 1.5 still makes mistakes. The guy that's dealing, that's on a 10, and when you start going into it and like looking at it as like, give me the challenge, man. Like, in 15 was the first time I was like, give me the hardest challenge. Like, I love it. Because guess what? If I go 0 for 4, everybody expected me to go 0 for 4. But now all of a sudden you roll out 3 against Felix and everybody's like, what? Like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I just closed my eyes and swung. Like,
and just think about you in the minor leagues, though. You in the minor leagues. I couldn't wait to face their top prospect. I'm like, when is he pitching? I think it's like 2 days. I would like prepare my at-bats for the top. Like, I couldn't wait for the battle. Now, how does that shift as I get to the big leagues? It's like, why'd that mentality kind of like not go away? It never goes away. But why was there even a thought of me not being excited to face Verlander, to face Scherzer? Like, I couldn't wait in Double A. So when does that mindset like kick over? And that took a little time.
Yeah. For me, it was year 3. I'm telling you. And it had to happen. Like, I had the circumstance you're in matters, right? So, like, right, wrong, or indifferent, it never felt like they wanted me to be a big leaguer in Minnesota. Because, like, as soon as I would falter, like, they didn't reassure me. They just said, seats over there, kid. Put your dunce cap on. right? And like that was probably more the old school mindset, like it's a get it done league, dude. But then I would see other guys come in, they go 0 for 12, 0 for 16, and keep running them out there. Hey, come for the cage for extra work, do this, like we'll figure it out. And a lot of that goes by age and prospect status.
Oh yeah.
I never got that. I wasn't the guy who got awarded that leash or that luxury at the big league level.
Mm-hmm. And there's more at play too, because you don't know what the front office's plans are, if they're trying to get somebody trade value by giving them more at bats, or you don't know what's going on at higher levels, and you're just out there trying to perform. I have a quick analogy to what you guys are saying. I think this is awesome. Really, really impactful stuff. Quick analogy. My daughter is 5, and we had a parent teacher conference, and the teacher said, we don't know what she's capable of because she's so afraid to fail. She won't try things. And she just won't do it. So we've just been encouraging her. Like she said, like, how do you spell Tuesday the other day? She's trying to spell every day of the week. So she asked me how to spell Tuesday, and she's so afraid to get it wrong. And my wife said to her the other day, she goes, I spell words wrong sometimes too. And she was like, you do? You spell, Mom spells words wrong? And then I told her, yeah, Daddy spells words wrong too.
Oh, you should tell her you do it all the time.
Well, I was going to show her on the computer when I type it wrong, there's a red line, but then she just wanted to do everything on the computer all the time. So I can't show her that. But just for her to know that Mom and Dad spell words wrong, she's like, oh, wow, I don't have to be perfect. Mom and Dad aren't perfect. And it was just like this earth shattering news that other people are wrong. So you guys saying like, hey, Ian Kinsler, how do you do this? And you're like, dude, I don't. It's still like there's moments, or how do you get hits off Scherzer? You don't. Like it's hard. It's hard for me too. And you're like,
true.
Okay, I don't feel I'm not the asshole in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, it's powerful.
Here's my analogy to Cohen. When I was growing up, I speak Italian and English, right? So I would spend extended periods of time in one country or the other. Up until I was probably like 7, every time I would spend an extended period of time in one country. So if I was in the States for 9 months and then I would go to Italy for like the summer, for the first 2 weeks I was there, I would listen to all my friends. I would understand everything. I wouldn't say anything. I would have to go up to my mom and tell my mom to tell them to say what I wanted to say, because I was so afraid that I would say it wrong. Fear is the biggest driving force for so many of us, right? For so many people, because we fear the unknown. We fear the perception of what things will look like. I think the single biggest development tool you can have for a young athlete is remove the barrier of fear. Like, regardless of where they stand or how confident they seem, like, allow them to understand that failure is okay. Like, it's okay to mess up. And the older I've gotten, the more simple my life's gotten, because I don't care about getting embarrassed. Like, because I know it's not a real thing, because embarrassment is only what I make of a situation. The same goes hand in hand with what Kratz said to me about, you know how I know when you're struggling is when you let me know that you're struggling. Because otherwise, literally, like, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger, because you're the only one that perceives it that way.